Another update on the barrel filter system. I guess we'll start over here. I switched over, got rid of the strapping, and ended up going with, I guess you could call this like a K2 media. It's about, I don't know, 5/8 inch diameter. I had the strapping in here, which was actually working very well. Problem was I had to have so much of it in here to slow the flow of water down for it to be effective that it was impossible to actually clean. I would churn it up with my little brush over there and it would get all nasty and I would drain it, but it didn't never seem like it was as much dirt coming out as I thought should have been. So I actually pulled all the strapping out of it one day, and I'd say the bottom 18 to 24 inches was literally just solid sludge. Just thick, nasty pond sludge. So the inability to actually churn all that strapping up to release all that crap was not going to be a viable option. So went over to this K2 media, and it's actually working fantastic. It's super easy to clean, churns up well, cleans well. I actually just cleaned this morning. This barrel could literally be cleaned every day, and it's loaded with algae and crap daily. So this is working absolutely fantastic over here now. Second drum, same media configuration. Some K2 thrown in here just because. I added a bubble tower on here. This is just teed off. I got about a 6-inch length going down and this riser coming up. I just wanted to eliminate any bubbles that were being injected under the media. Anyone with an air injection blower that they use to clean their media knows how effective air coming up through the media is at dislodging and disrupting anything trapped in the media. So this is probably not making a whole lot of difference, but in my continual plight for maximum efficiency on anything, I just threw this on here. And you can see the bubbles that are now just coming up in here and dispersing as opposed to being forced down through the media. So it does work. How much difference it actually makes, I don't know, but the main difference here is I have switched from these dual output towers to another floor drain setup. This floor drain setup, let me actually knock it down here so you can see. So, the floor drain, I've got holes that I've drilled along the side here, and also holes that have been drilled up underneath. My logic being, this bed of media, let me turn this back on. This bed of media is probably about 12 inches deep. So on this tower you can see where the water line was from there, you know, down. So if you've got 12 inches of media from here down, that means the water going out here is only being filtered through maybe 6 inches of media. 7, 8, 9, you know, as you work your way up. Water going out here has in theory gone through 12 inches of media. Water going out down here has gone through less than half the media. This filter drain, all the water pulls from literally the top 1.5 to 2 inches of media, which means everything leaving this drum has now gone through the entire media bed. Again, don't know how much more effective it actually makes it, but what the hell, can't hurt to try, right? So, single shower drain, still on the single 2-inch pipe that runs, you know, in between all these. It's nowhere near being maxed as far as flow, because I'd say 85% of the water going out of there is actually going through the holes that I've drilled on the side. And there's actually a very minimal amount actually overflowing around the top. leaving this entire center section open for overflow should anything get plugged in those holes on the side. So, is this a safer system? Meaning you have a lot more room for error should something go wrong? Yeah, absolutely. I do believe this is more efficient though, and does have ample room here for issues down the road should anything arise. Because as this water level comes up, it's going to of course then fill this entire top section of that shower drain. Third chamber, the moving bed. Interesting, this seems to be, the whole system seems to be flowing more with this single pipe setup, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, other than those didn't offer it to run under a siphon setup, like a full siphon. A full siphon will always move way more water than a gravity siphon. That is a gravity siphon because there's just so many options for air to be injected everywhere. Where I think this functions more as a full siphon, because this is churning way more than it ever did with the dual towers like that. Well, the only other change on this bed is I did add a couple small shitty air pumps I had laying around to run this drum on its own. Oftentimes if we have company over, if we just want to sit and watch the fish, I'll turn off the aerator on the pond, and then of course it kills the air going to this. So I just hooked up these two little cheesy aquarium pumps in here, and that way when I turn the main air system on the pond off, this isn't affected at all. So I added another 3 cubic feet of media to this system when I got rid of the strapping and went to the K2 media on the first drum. So I'd say this system has a total right now of about 7 cubic feet into it. Yeah, see, and again on this shower drain, now this shower drain has been in here since the beginning, and there's been no issues with overflowing or anything. What does happen, which is kind of neat, as this media gets more and more dirty and condensed with dirt, you'll actually watch this come up, and it'll rise up about an inch when it's really dirty, as the water pressure just, pushes the media up as it becomes more saturated. So it's kind of got a built-in when to clean me system. As you watch the media gradually push up, you know how it gets getting dirtier the higher the media rises. So that's about that for this. I did finally finish rocking in my bed up here. We've had a couple ginormous storms, and the water did go right around it as I intended it to, so that worked out well. We had a hailstorm last week that just destroyed everything. Look at my milkweed. We got about an inch of hail that just literally blew apart everything. The whole yard looked like it had been run through a shredder. All my lilies, the lily pads, looked like that, just blown apart. Literally, just pelted apart. Look at this, everything just destroyed from the hail. Just holes punched right through and shredded through everything. So about 90% of the lilies had to be pulled out, and what's down there now is actually new growth since last week. Let me take a quick walk around. I'll give you a shot of the pond. I don't know if you caught that or not, but yes, that was my cat chasing the dogs. Another interesting tidbit. I had 3 fish that were rehomed to me, 2.5 years ago now, from my mailman of all people. Saw the pond, told me he had a couple Sarasa comets that had been in a fish tank for what he claimed was a long time. And I don't know if that meant 2 years or 10 years. So he wanted to know if he could rehome them here, and of course I said sure. One of them died yesterday. It was hanging around the surface, not gasping for air, just floating lethargically at the surface, would occasionally swim down, but just looked rather lifeless. So I pulled him out, gave him a good inspection, looked absolutely perfect, gills looked good, no blood streaking in the tails. Immediately did a full panel on the pond water. Ammonia was 0, nitrates undetectable, pH was good, KH, GH, everything where it should be. So I chalked it up to, well, maybe he was older than I thought he was, and just his time. No, no physical damage, no signs of anything. Looked, perfect, not a scale out of place. So yesterday he was in the skimmer, had given up the ghost. And then I come home last night and noticed that his buddy, number 2 of the 3 that were rehomed, was behaving the same way. So as of this morning, I set him up here in the bog because he's still alive, but yeah, he's still barely breathing, but he'll be gone here shortly. But everybody else, perfectly fine and healthy, eating, swimming, frolicking, doing fish-like things. So I'm not really concerned. That's actually the only 2 fish I've lost in probably the last 3 years. Yeah, sometimes there just really isn't an explanation. It just is what it is, and maybe it was just their time, and I don't know. Maybe they've been around that long together where this guy just couldn't go on without his buddy. Well, at any rate, these guys want to eat, and I gotta get to work. So, that's all for now.